Uh, yeah, comment was it was a good week, won two big games. Now guys are trying to finish up finals and got a big challenge ahead. It's something that, we've known we had coming and excited about the opportunity. So it's going to be a barometer to see where my team is.
How much does what Kansas has done these last two games change does it change your approach at all? I know the guys have to know about it. Does it change things at all that they've lost two in a row?
I just think we're game planning for them. I don't think we're gonna, it's like I said earlier. I'm not gonna pull a 1-3-1 zone like Florida did out of my hat, and we're gonna play Lobo basketball and play the way we play, and try to see if we can do some things to get a victory. And it's a big challenge. I mean, they're very talented. They're young, and some of their guys are very inexperienced. They're starting 3 freshmen, and then. Well, they're starting 4 freshmen now with Imbibe. So, we're going to play the way we play, and we've watched all their games and studied what they do, and we'll see what happens on Saturday.
The fact that they have struggled with the zone, does that change your thought pattern going in?
Doesn't change my thought pattern because we play zone. It'll be on how we're playing that day and if we need to play zone. But we wanted to play a lot more zone against Cincinnati, and we were guarding them so well. I just didn't feel like we needed to go zone. So if we weren't guarding them very well and they were hurting us getting to the rim and we were getting in foul trouble, then we probably would have played a lot more zone against Cincinnati. But we were guarding them so well that hopefully we go in and we're able to guard them and we don't have to play a lot of zone, but I'm sure we'll change some things up on them.
I heard you on the coaches show the other night talking about your relationship or Mitchell Wiggins. Can you talk about that a little bit, how well you know Mitchell?
Well, I haven't talked to him in a while. I played with him back when we were, when I was coming out of college and watched him play for the Rockets, and I played on a summer league team with him for the whole summer, and he was a big time player. My connection with them is they're from Toronto and I was there for 10 years. So I never met Andrew, only when he was younger, but we tried to recruit his brother at Wichita State a little bit. But Mitchell was a really good player, and I had a good time playing with him, and he was a good pro.
So what do you know about Andrew now?
He's really talented. I mean, anytime you come out of high school and do the things he's done and the publicity he's gotten, it's not easy for them. I mean, I'm sure it's overbearing, and I mean, he's an 18-year-old kid, but he's a kid that very similar to that class has got a lot of high-profile kids.
What do you see out of Kansas? The team overall outside of Andrew?
I think they're a team that hadn't hit their stride. I think they're trying to find a glue or a chemistry, and it's not easy. When we scheduled this game, we didn't think they were going to have all these guys, and we knew they lost a bunch of guys, but they do a good job recruiting, and I think the biggest thing that it's like I said it to Andy Katz last night, that my biggest concern is I know Coach Self really well, and he's one of the top coaches in the country, and that's my biggest concern because I know he'll have them ready.
How do you challenge your group, to guard a guy like Wiggins? Because I know any player in the country wants to try to shut him down.
Well, I don't think my guys aren't going to be challenged on shutting him down. My guys are going to be challenged on shutting Kansas down, and I'm sure my guys are excited as I am for the game, and hopefully we have a good showing.
Matchup, being 6'8", that kind of thing. What kind of matchup problems do you face with him?
I think he's a matchup problem for whoever he plays, but it's not a. I think they found out it's not 1 against 5, and we're going to play team defense, and they got a lot of good players. I mean, it's not like they don't have guys that can play at a high level and perform at a high level and score, and they've got a lot of talented kids. So I don't think you're trying to shut him down. I think you're just trying to shut them down.
Do you feel you're going to have to try target your guards early, you know, on the offensive side of the ball, hitting shots early?
That's not a concern of mine. I think that I'm sure Kendall hopefully will play really well, and then Alex and Cam will play really well. But, you know, it's a tough matchup for Cam and Alex because Ellis is really good. Imbibe's a top prospect that has really come on, and then Black's a transfer from Memphis, is playing his 5th year there, and then they got Taylor off the bench. So they've got 4 legitimate, really good bigs. So, you know, we're just going to have to play our game, and hopefully we play well enough to win.
Cam and Alex in particular, Cam's been starting to get some of the national guys, you know, putting notes out on him, whether they're being blogs or tweets, and Alex is already kind of on that level. Do you, because they're 4th year guys, maybe you don't worry about this, or do you worry that because they're on this national stage and the buzz about Cam in particular is starting to build up around the country, do you worry that he might try and do too much on a stage like the ESPN director game?
I don't think so. I don't think he has that in him as far as his makeup as a person. I think he's going to be excited. Yeah, I think he's going to be real excited for the opportunity. Cameron's just one of those kids that he seizes the moment, seizes every opportunity that he's been presented to him, and I think that's one reason why he's been successful. He hasn't fazed him. Or the one thing, you know, I always know about Cameron is he is what he is, and he's going to do what, I mean, you know, it's like I tell guys, do what you do. Don't try to do things you can't do, and Cameron's one of those kids that have done that. And I don't, people say, well, Coach, he's doing so much more. Well, he's always been able to do that. Just people starting to realize. I mean, I told those guys at the beginning of the year I thought he was the best power. I mean, now everybody wants to start talking about it. I mean, it's like we've kind of known what we got and what we have in a player, and he's just finally getting some publicity that he deserves. But, you know, we got a lot of guys that deserve that.
But what does this game mean for you as your head coach?
I don't know. It's another game for me. I mean, of course it's the Kansas game, but I'm just taking it as another game. You know, I'm really excited to have an opportunity to go in and play against a team like Kansas and a program like Kansas. And that's one thing that we're trying to build our program to. We're going to play high-level competition and be able to compete against great teams and great coaches. They got a great staff. I know all their staff, and I think they do a terrific job. And I've always been I know Bill, and he's always been nice. And anytime I've tried to call him for advice, he's helped me. And I think he's one of the better coaches, like I said, in the country. But it's just going to be an opportunity to see, you know, how good your team is.
How is the rotation of the players coming along? We had some concerns really picking everything up. How have they been last
That'll change every day. That'll change game by game. You know, and I've told those guys it's going to be how you perform in practice and who I'm confident in playing and who I trust to play, and that's always going to change. It's not going to be, you know, I think we're pretty well set that Cullen's going to come in and play right away, and I think, you know, I got to decide if it's going to be Dede or Arthur, and it's hard to play 6 of them. And
Are those guys picking it up in practice like you like?
yeah, they're picking it up, but there's a difference. There's a difference between practice and a game. You can't go in the game and, as Frank says, you can't be Etch-a-Sketch where you draw a beautiful portrait and then all of a sudden you shake your head and it's gone. And they're doing much better. And I got no problems putting both of them in the game. I got no problems playing them 20 minutes a game. But, I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face about this bench thing, and if you can show me a better way to break up the minutes, then I'm all for it. But there's only so many minutes.
How's Hugh?
He's good. He's hurt, but he's good. I mean, he's Hugh. His wrist is still sore. He hadn't done anything for 3 days. He's done a little shooting, a little running, just trying to give him rest. He's had 3 days of really good rest, and hopefully he'll have a good practice today, but he hadn't done a lot for 3 days.
They're averaging 14 turnovers a game. Is that something you guys change anything you do to try and exploit a little bit more?
Well, they averaged 14 turnovers a game because they had 22 in their last one. So, I mean, yeah, my team's not put together like the last team they played. My team's not put together that way. So, yeah, we'd like to turn them over. We'd like to turn every team over. But, we're just going to continue. I think the biggest thing for us is to continue to get better defensively. And I think we've done that. I think, we'll change some things up, which we've done this year. But, I don't want to tip my hand on what we're going to do.
Do you feel like they will double down on your base like we've seen at times?
Yeah, I do. I really think they do. You're gonna see two game plans. You're gonna see a team that's gonna be really, really solid and get back to trying to really get cohesive, or you're gonna find a team that's really, really pissed off and they're gonna come out and try to knock us out in the first round. Now, we got to be ready for both, and we got to be ready to withstand that. But I mean, you're playing in a venue, it's 19,000 people, and it's 30 miles from campus. So it's going to be like a road game. But, we'll have our guys ready, and hopefully they perform the way they want to perform, the way we want them to perform. But I think they could double down. I think we'll see some pressure like we did in Cincinnati game. So, they're very talented, and, Bill does an unbelievable job there.
Anything else?
Yes, good morning. You mentioned the turnover on their roster, 3 or 4 freshmen starting, and I think it's an appropriate time. Your perspective is going to be totally different than Coach Self's perspective, but it's a good time to ask you about how you feel about the one and done rule, and is there
The one and done rule?
Yes, and the way
I don't. Yeah.
are playing so many significant minutes and then gone the next day.
I just think your program dictates on that. I don't think, we had Tony for 3, we had Darrington for 1. I think your program dictates how you go about that. I'm not a big proponent of I think they could almost do it like baseball, where if you could come out of high school and then if you don't, you got to stay for 2 years. But I don't think that'll ever change until the higher ups decide what they're going to do. But you're going to always have that turnover right now because it's hard. We're in this game to impact kids. And, what Kentucky and what Kansas has done, they're just trying to better kids. And they've done a great job with that. And it just dictates each program's different. It's kind of been different for us because we never thought Tony would leave early. We thought Kendall might, and he didn't. We could be dealing with one later here, and Darrington left after 1. So we've had our share of dealing with it. It's just that I think you got to keep recruiting, and they've done a good job where they're always recruiting like we are and like every program is, and hopefully you fill those voids.
If you had your druthers, if it was a perfect world, you'd rather have it be where, okay, they're allowed to go play when they're finished as a high schooler if they're capable, but then if you come and play in school, you got to stay for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that I've always felt, because I was in both leagues, I don't think you can. It's hard for me to argue either way. I don't think a kid that graduates from Harvard when he's 19 years old and he can't go in the professional world let's be realistic. They should be able to do what they want to do, but that's not the way it's set up. The biggest thing is I think everybody looks at it, you're a student athlete first, and that's why you go to college. I think that's why the big debate over can you go after 1 or should you go at high school. I think if they go to college, they should have to stay for 2 years, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. That's my opinion. That's the way I feel about it. But I think they should have the option. If they do, I think it should be like the baseball deal.
One other real quick one, not necessarily related to this game, but the pace you guys are on, it dropped off a little bit with Cincinnati, but block shots, you guys are still on the record pace. Is there something, is it just the fact that Allison can block shots, or are you guys doing something that sort of sets the block shot up a little bit more this year?
I think that we're a little bit more athletic than we get credit for.
Cam mentioned a couple weeks ago that he thought that with the new rules, maybe refs are actually giving the benefit of the doubt for guys actually going. He says you can't just stand there and take a charge anymore because they don't call. So guys that are actually challenging shots, maybe the refs are giving them a little more benefit.
I think they are. I agree with that. But I also think if you look at our games, I think we're getting a lot of blocks from the second guy. And I think that's just activity. I think that's knowing how to play. And let's face it, unless we play New Mexico State every game, Alex is going to have a chance to block on-ball shots when he's guarding on ball. He just is. He's long. Cameron has done a good job on the ball, blocking shots, staying down, and going up when the guy goes up. But he's also had some big blocks where he's come, he's the second guy removed and had some big blocks.